Salute, folks. It's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor Alonzo Hall, your social media insurance broker, and I've returned today to whap and tap upon your head with yet another ADH wealth solution. Today, we're going to be looking at raw numbers. Before I go in, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. So, here we're looking at an illustration that I did for a client of mine. Now, if you'll notice here, quite a few different things. So I'm going to pull out my stylus so I can pen along with some things. So first thing, when you're looking at an index universal life insurance illustration, you should see 3 columns here. And if you'll see, this client is in the state of New York and is paying a $48,000 annual premium. So first things first, I want to jump on the back of a lot of people who say, hey, you know, these IUL guys, they're making a boatload of money off of these policies. And it's absolutely true. They are making a boatload of money off of these policies. But that's because the IUL is generally for a certain level of client. So that's one way that it is properly funded. Somebody who thinks $48,000 a year into a policy is expensive probably shouldn't be in an overfunded IUL. Now, if you look at this first column here that says guaranteed policy values, right? So that's your guarantees. What is your guarantee? Most Americans would be familiar with something if I said FDIC. So this is the reserves. So this is worst case scenario. From the day you buy the policy, the insurance company starts hemorrhaging money. Not making money, but literally losing money. And every client who had a policy with them had to put in their death benefit claim. They're telling you that they would have X amount of dollars for you, or the availability and liquidity of your death benefit account value and surrender value would be these numbers here, this first column, these first columns. And this is how long it would run you to. Okay? Now, if you'll notice here, there's a lot of zeros as well. Because one of the things I mentioned was that nobody should pay for life insurance for their entire life. So I'll get to that shortly. Second, you have the alternate scale non-guaranteed policy values, which again is not hemorrhaging money, but not making money. And guaranteed policy values is what's going on today. Because we cannot guarantee what the index that we're mirroring is doing or will do. So that's why the non-guaranteed is what's actually happening today. So that's this far right column. Okay? Now, moving on. You'll notice, again, the premium outlay. Mind you, I said nobody should be paying for life insurance for their whole life. So this gentleman is paying for this life insurance policy for 21 years. So he's paying $48,000 a year for 21 years. Now I'm going to guide this towards the black community, because normally when we're looking at our illustrations, we look at it, okay, how much is it per month? And then we might look at it, how much is it per year? Well, let me tell you this, and this isn't just for black people. My financial advisor friends who are up here know wealthy people look at things in terms of decades, not days. So we're not going to worry about what he's paying in just year 1. Let's look to year 10. So at year 10, he's paid $480,000 into the policy out of his own pocket. That's the outlay, right? And now let's look at the end of year 10, which it says the non-guaranteed policy values. So he will have $346,000 in his net account value, and his surrender value, which means if he says, I want to cancel the policy, he will get $339,000 back. There has to be pain in the program. Exactly like any investment or brokerage account, or a high yield savings account, right? It needs to be there for a certain period of time. If you do not leave it there for a certain period of time, regardless of the financial institution or product, they're going to put some pain in the program because they need to make money. And if you don't leave the money there for a certain period of time, then they don't have the ability to make earning or interest off of the money that you've invested with them or the premiums that you've paid into them. So now, again, let's look at year 21, right? So $960,000 is what he paid in year 20 out of his own pocket. Year 21, the last payment, that additional $48,000, means he's paid a total of $1,008,000 into the policy. So now let's look at year 20. At year 20, he's paid $960,000 out of his pocket, but his net account value is here, $986,699. And should he surrender the policy, he would get that $986,699. Last time I checked, $986 was higher than $960. Now, there's something else I want you to see here. His death benefit. Notice the initial death benefit that he purchased here was a $2.4 million death benefit, right? But if you'll notice here, his death benefit is increasing with his cash value. So as his cash value increases, his death benefit goes up. Now, why is this important? Because we're talking about properly structured life insurance, or IULs. Well, this is properly structured because the conversation that he and I had, because that's another thing. We often, even myself, say a lot of these IUL agents don't know how to set the policy up, but I don't know, we weren't privy to that conversation, that fact finder. This particular client would like to use this policy for something called a collateral assignment. So he's going to use this for collateral. So the higher the death benefit, the more money he has to use as collateral. Okay, now, I'm going to pause this because I want to bring, actually, no, I'm not going to pause this. I'm just going to go straight to Google. And we are going to show you something called an amortization calculator. Because it's very funny that that cash value illustration that I just showed you looks very, very similar to, oh, I'm sorry, hold on. No, I'm not writing right now. Looks very, and I went to bankrate.com, like I told you guys, to go to an amortization schedule. So if we look at the schedule here, oh, wow, it's breaking down for 30 years what his payment and interest will be on that mortgage, right? Isn't this very ironic that this and this look almost identical? Is that because the cash value life insurance illustration is an amortization schedule? By all means, it is. So now let's look here. And again, the thing about anything that you want to grow is the more time you have, the bigger snowball effect you get. So let's say 30 years. Now, mind you, he stopped paying this at year 21, but at 30 years, he's come out of his pocket $1,008,000. Well, his death benefit is $3.598 million, so should he die, his family would get more than the contract that he paid for, which was $2.4 million, meaning that when he dies, his family would get the cash value and the death benefit, but he's got $1.169 million of cash value. If I'm not mistaken, that's $101,000 more than he put into the policy. And this policy is structured actually more for the benefit of me, the agent, than him, the client. And I talked to him and I said, listen, you have one policy with me, and I'll show you guys that illustration as well. But this policy is more set to benefit me. And I'll show you guys that here. So we're talking about commission. So I get, let's say I'm at 50%, 50% of the target premium. The target premium in this instance is the $48,000. So my check would be $24,000. That's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll do a part 2. Wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. And when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.